Hey guys, I'm Lionel. Today we're going to see on a small tutorial about how to create a Java application. This will probably be useful for you for your software engineering lab. The main thing we're going to concentrate on today is how to connect to a database, insert and then check the values. Database connection may seem difficult in the beginning, but it's really easy and also very important. This will be useful even in your final year project. So once I show it to you, I'm sure you guys will get it. And if once you get the hang of it, it's very easy. So let's start. Okay, so I'm going into my Netbeans environment. I'm giving file, new project, and you guys are creating a Java application. So Java application. Okay, so I'm going to start Java application. Let's say the application is called timetable. So I will teach you how to insert values into a database and how to connect and check those values. So you can use this database connection according to your project, whatever your requirements are. But I'm sure once you connect to the database and you check those values, the staff will be satisfied. So I'm going to start with creating a form, new JFrame form, form 1. This is the easy part. I'm sure you guys know how to do this. So username, password and 2 text fields. Sorry. And then adding 2 buttons. One is a login button and the other one is a register button. Okay, so the register button will take me to another form where I can register myself. In the registration page, the values that I enter will be entered into the table in the database. The login module, that is this form, it will check the values with the table and then it will either take you in or display that the password is wrong. So let's create another form. I'm going to projects, timetable, right click, new JFrame form, form 2. In this form I'm creating a very similar UI that says username, password, again 2 text fields. Here I am putting just one button that says register. Okay, and let's make another page that will show a welcome message, let's say. Okay, so this one just says welcome message if my login credentials are correct. Okay, so let's start with very simple coding, how to navigate from one page to another. I'm very sure all of you guys know this. So just in case you don't know, to enter code for a particular button, just double click on that button. So once I double click on that button, it takes me to the source code and the pointer is already placed in one part of the code. So that is where I have to add my code. See, to do add your handling code here. So after that, so here is the place where I'm going to type my code for that particular button. So to go from one page to another, I'm going to say set visible false. So this is basically closing the current form that I am in, and to open a new form, new form 2, that is the registration page, dot set visible true. Brackets. Okay, so now when I go back to the design, let's see if this button works. So go to projects, form 1, right, form 1, right click and run file. Okay, form is loading. When I click this, it goes to the next page. Success. Okay, now time to connect the database. So the first step in connecting the database is to add a library. A library is basically a set of code that is already written. Once we add that library, most of the things are almost done for us. We don't have to write all the background code. So I right click on this library and say add library. So the database that you're using, I'm sure all of you know this, is going to be MySQL. So there's a driver called MySQL JDBC driver. So you click on that and give add library. Add library is already added. There's a lot of code in the library which we don't need to bother about after this. Next step is to add a service. So when you do a project, there may be a number of services. So let's delete all this. Yeah. Okay. So the database has nothing now. So I'm just right click on database and say new connection. I'm choosing the driver, that is MySQL. Next. Again MySQL, localhost. Don't touch all this. Just enter the database password. I'm not sure about what the database password in the lab is, but on my laptop it's password. And if there's no password, just leave this place blank. If there is a password, just find out and just add that. And then let's test the connection. Okay, so connection successful. Next. Finish. Okay, now I'm already connected to the database. What do I do next? Let's create a table. So I right click on this. I click on this arrow here. I get the MySQL. MySQL is nothing but the database name. Inside MySQL there are tables. So I right click on table and say create table. Let's say my table name is user login. Okay, add a column, username. For simplicity, we're going to make it varchar 20. Okay, another one that says password. Okay, and my table is created. Let's take another table. Okay, for now one table is fine because we're only going to do a login page. So once I'm done with the services, I close that again. So when I'm on my register page, that is form 2, I need to insert the values from here into the database. So double click on this register button. Okay, so I'm brought to this page where the pointer is already placed here. So enter, and here I'm going to type the code for my registration. So I will share this document which has some code. Okay, I will share this code with you. Just have a look at it. I'm sure you guys will understand what it is. One second. Okay, much better. So I'm going to copy and paste the code, not all of it, from here till here. So basically this string x1, it gets the fields, text field 1 from the first text field, this gets it from the second text field and stores it in strings. Okay, so the first that I'm getting here for try, because I haven't added a catch statement. Add a catch, then that problem is gone. Okay, catch has nothing now. We'll add some things to it as we go. So let's look at the code again. Okay, so first thing is called connection con. So I'm creating a object for the class connection. This can be any name here. Okay, so it throws an error, and this bulb, it just helps you. It's here to help you out. So you click on that bulb, it will show you a number of solutions for that. I'm sorry, but here it's not really clear. It's a little bug in Netbeans for Linux. But then you click on that, and then you will find add import for java.sql.connection. Okay, here is the second one. It will be much clearer in Windows. Do not add this com.mysql.jdbc.connection. Do not add that. If you add that, you will not get the correct output. So go for java.sql.connection. Okay, and that error is gone. just to remind you. Java.sql dot something. Okay, so connection con is done. Next part of my code is class for name. So I'm just gonna copy this, paste it there, no issues here. Next statement, driver manager. Okay, so I'm not going to take all this code. I'm going to take the code up to this. Okay. So once I add driver manager, it throws an error saying I should add import again. So add import for java.sql.driver manager. After I add that, here I need to add the database URL. So where can I find this? I go to services, see this, the database connection that I just made. I right click on that and I give rename. This gives me a name. I'm not going to give it a new name. I'm just going to copy whatever's here, give OK, and paste it over here. So I have the name. I'm going to delete everything up to MySQL, that is the database name. After that, comma, database username, that is root, and the password. In this case it's password. If there is no password in the lab for the database, just leave this place blank. So if there's no password, let it be like this. If there is a password, type it here. Okay, so that is done. What's next? So the next one is to write a SQL query. So I'm writing an SQL query and I'm saving it into a string called SQL. So what is the table name of our database? I think it is user login. Let me just check. Okay, user login. Okay. The next step is statement stm. So all this code is used to execute the statement. So I'm just copying these 3 lines, pasting it over here. For statement stm, it throws an error saying I have to add. Again, do not add com.mysql, add java.sql.statement. See, there's another thing called java.beans. Do not add that either. Add java.sql.statement. It will be much clearer in Windows. It's just a small bug here. Okay, so I'm done. The catch statement, I'm sure all you guys know what try and catch is. So catch is basically to catch any errors that are thrown within the try block. So in this catchment, I'm adding 2 catches, that is class not found exception and SQL exception. So I'm adding this. So if there's any of these errors, it will be caught within this. For this I have to add an SQL, Java SQL class. Okay, so that is gone. Okay, so if there is an error in this code, the error will be thrown and it will come to the catch statement. What do I want to do if there is no error? So after inserting, I'm going to close that and go to the first form. So again here, set visible false, and I'm going to the first form, new form 1 dot set visible true. That's it. This is done. That's all. As simple as this. So let's try this out. So I'm going to projects, form 1, right click and run file. Okay, so I am not registered yet. I want to go to the register page. I'm registering with my username, let's say Lionel, password, favorite, register. Okay, I come back to the form 1, meaning my registration is successful. So let's check if my values are entered into the table. So again I go to services because that is where my database connection is. and I go to the table user login. See, services, the database connection, the database MySQL. Under tables, I get the long list of tables. I look for mine, user login. Right click on that, view data. Once I give view data, the select statement is automatically executed, and I get the username and password that I entered in form 2. Okay, so successful insertion. So most of the work is already done. So the only thing we have to do now is to check whether our inserted values are correct and according to that login. So that is this button code. So again I come to form 1. I'll double click on this. For this also I have the code. I will share this file with you guys. So copy this code. I'm doing it all together now because you guys already know what to do. Ignore the last one. Okay, the cursor is already here, pasting, and as usual I just have to do this. java.sql.result set. Be very careful again. Connection con java.sql.connection. Driver manager java.sql.driver manager. Same thing for statement. And here again I should replace it with the URL from my database. So where did I get that? Right click, rename, copy that, okay, pasting it over here, removing everything up to MySQL, root and password again. Okay, here I'm going to change the table name. Login is table name, so user login, where username. So this I have to be careful because username is the column name that I entered when I created the table. Remember the two columns, username and password. So this has to be that. Okay, what errors do we still have? Okay, SQL exception. Import. Okay, all my errors are gone. So let me just explain this code for you. Here again, I'm getting the text from this text field, entering to x1 and the second one to x2. Then I'm calling something called result set. We'll come back to that later. Class, adding the class, connection, connecting to the database using the statement. And then I'm creating a statement saying string s select star from user login where username equal to that and password equal to that. So I'm creating the statement and I'm running the query. So rs, I'm running the query and I'm sending it to this object called rs, and I'm initializing an integer count equal to 0. So while rs dot next, so it will execute the statement n number of times because it's a select statement for n. So 10 values in the table, it will check that, and so checking all the 10 values, if the username and password is equal to any one thing, count will be incremented. Okay, so select star from login will give me only one thing because there is only one entry with Lionel as a username and Faber as password. So count is equal to 1. So if count is equal to 1, I'm going to system.out.println password matched. This will be executed here in this place, and then I'm going to new form 3 set visible true. So the form 3 which has the welcome message will be displayed. If count is not equal to 1, then I will display that the wrong password here in this place. So let's execute form 2 and form 1 and see what's happening. Right click form 1, right, username Lionel, password is Faber. If I give login, I got the welcome screen and password match is displayed here. If, let's see what happens if I give the wrong password. Then okay, nothing's happening. I got the wrong password displayed here. So that's all, you guys. Very simple database connection. I will share the code with you, and also all you guys have to do is to take this database connection and apply it for your particular project. Just think of some very simple logic where you can use database insertion and checking and then apply to your project. I'm sure you guys will get through. All the best.